So, ladies and gentlemen, the Douglas B-26 Invader. Again, remarkable history of this particular aircraft. Initially, the Air Force put it in storage in Savannah, Georgia, before moving it to Sacramento, until in 1951 it was sent back to Douglas Aircraft at Long Beach to receive the latest factory upgrades. Aircraft serial number 4434313, 44 being the year of manufacture, 1944. The aircraft is known to one and all as 313. It was converted to the glass-nosed C model, a much more streamlined nose, making the aircraft somewhat faster. Originally fitted with a pair of 50 caliber turrets, 50 caliber machine gun turrets. For self-defense, these were removed because the aircraft was mostly going to be used for night interdiction and night strike missions during the Korean War. On the departure of that commander, it was renamed Junio. We're not quite sure why, by Commander Neveling, who had replaced the original commander of the squadron. Now, on a mission over North Korea in December the 27th, this aircraft took a direct hit, 40mm anti-aircraft hit, right to its fully loaded bomb bay. And that badly injured First Lieutenant Raymond Koch, who was the navigator seated in the rear of the aircraft. Fire, hydraulic failure, partial control, loss of partial control, meant that the aircraft had to divert into a different airbase, and it was carried to Miho, Japan, to be repaired. Mostly based at Pusan East, known as K9, during the Korean War. While it was being repaired, it was also painted black in order to make it less conspicuous on these night missions. But in February 1952, it was hit again with 40mm flak, which hit the glass nose of the aircraft, destroying the northern bomb sight and shattering the co-pilot's canopy. Once again it was repaired, and in May it was reassigned to the 17th Bomb Wing, going to the 95th Bomb Squadron, known as the Eloise. Again, a spare aircraft on that squadron. Because everybody found out that it had been hit twice by flak on previous missions, and nobody wanted to fly it. They christened it the magnet, or flak magnet. This aircraft took part in some of the last official missions over North Korea. On July the 27th, I do beg your pardon, got the cat's teeth in here. July 27th, 1953, it had logged 1,900 combat hours in the 2 years it had been operating in Korea. And then it was returned to McClellan Air Force Base at Sacramento for storage. As I said, very powerful, very fast aircraft, the Invader. The Pratt & Whitney R-28 engines, producing 2,000 horsepower of thrust each, gave it a top speed of 359 miles an hour, which is quite remarkable for a light bomber. Well, medium bomber, actually, if truth be told. Now, what was interesting was that the end of its military career, was not the end of its flying career by any means. In 1957, this aircraft was sold at a government surplus auction. How much do you think they paid for this? $1,776. That was what somebody bought this aircraft for. It was originally modified for cloud seeding to create rain before it was sold to Aero Atlas of Red Bluff, California, where it became a fire bomber. The Bombay was modified with a borate tank to take fire suppression chemicals, and it was known as Tanker 27. It was to stay in this role as a firefighting air tanker right the way through to 1988, when it was donated by the then owners Conair at Abbotsford in British Columbia to the Reynolds Aviation Museum. They, however, very quickly sold the aircraft on to a chap called Don Crow. Conair were not impressed by that, apparently. And now returns to the European Airshow circuit. And I, for one, am delighted to see it. This is one of my favourite aircraft. Fast, powerful, and incredibly mean. Aside from the bomb load, 4,000 pounds in the Bombay, another 2,000 pounds under the wings. You could also fit the aircraft with various fixed forward firing machine guns. And of course, in its original wartime guise, it had a pair of self-defense remotely guided turrets carrying yet more 50 cal machine guns. This really was a very, very powerful war machine.